Mr. DJ Rose, Doechii, and C's. Welcome you to the No More Black Tears podcast.
Black tears that's heaven sent. Barack the first black president. I love my black skin. I love walking in black excellence. Black power, let's represent. All black, that's evident. For sure MLK and Malcolm X both didn't die for the hell of it. Strap your seatbelt, go and settle land. What makes you think that we would sell our land? We wouldn't sell our land. What makes you think that we would go ahead and try to sell out then? No more black tears, black on black kids. Love us as is, love with passion. Paying black bills, learning black skills, making black meals. Black is backing. Big shout out to Fred Hampton. I'm black and proud like I'm James Brown, but I ain't doing no acting. My people here from the motherland. This podcast now active.
Yo, what's good, people? It's Caesar C's back in the building. Welcome to the No More Black Tears podcast.
Yo, it's Doechii, man. It's been a long week, C's, man. How you been?
Been a long week, man. Still got a day to go, man.
Yeah, man. So moving on to weekend sports, y'all. So it was announced just an hour or so ago that Canelo and Jake Paul are finalizing a fight. You know, Jake Paul, he just came off of that, victory over Mike Tyson on Netflix, where he made, I think, 50, 60 million. Tyson made 20. And Canelo is probably the biggest name in boxing right now. Man, I'm just going to be real. I think this is a big deal for Jake Paul because he's been wanting this Canelo fight for a minute because there's no bigger name in boxing than Canelo. Canelo is considered, if not the best pound-for-pound fighter today, he's the second best. People like me and Rose, we would say that it's Terence Crawford, Bud Crawford, he's the best. I know some people might think this fight could be fixed potentially, but I just can't see it only because Canelo would lose so much if he lost this fight in terms of how much money he could make down the road and other potential fights with like Terence Crawford and other boxers that wanna get at him. And Canelo's still in his prime. We're not talking about Canelo that's a year or two away from retirement. If he was kind of close to retiring, I could see, maybe some shenanigans. But I just want to say shout out to Jake, though, man. Like, he's making these fights happen, man. He could be the best promoter in the fight game since Dana White and Vince McMahon, to be honest. Like, Jake Paul, I'm just saying, like, he's making these fights happen. He made that Mike Tyson fight happen. Remember, a couple years ago before the Mike Tyson fight happened, Mike said he would never fight him. Then when the Canelo news came out that he wanted to fight Canelo, people from Canelo camp reached out to all the little sports, networks and said Canelo would never accept this fight. Now, you go on ESPN, they finalizing the deal. Like, he finds a way to get these big names to get in the ring with him. So I respect him for that. But if he get in the ring with Canelo, it might be the last time he get in the ring. So he better make sure he milk as much money from, I don't care if it's Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, Amazon Prime, Apple TV. I don't care what network he put this fight on, what streaming app. He better make sure he get every dollar he can because it's going to be the last time he step in the ring.
For this to be a legitimate fight, Jake Paul would actually have to go through the circuit of the real boxing leagues, WBC, whatever, just name a league. He would have to actually go through that and actually earn the title. These are sideshow events. These are not, I'm not going to say it's not real, but come on, man. If Canelo really gets in the ring with him, he'll kill him. He'll beat him. He'll beat him easily. But yeah, I mean, it basically, you get the money, people do it now. Now anybody can fight. Like, literally, you get enough people behind you, got somebody big enough, you literally could have him up there, I like to see him fight like a UFC fighter. Not in UFC, but box a former UFC fighter. Now, at this point, you might as well break out a little bit.
Well, he's already fought a couple of UFC guys in a boxing match. Retired guys, but he's fought them, though. Talking about another big name in sports, Luka Doncic got traded from the Dallas Mavericks to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis. It's basically, we can go into the details of the trade, but basically it was player for player. Of course, there was, some other stuff traded, but nothing of significance. This is crazy. because Luka got traded in the middle of the night. He's coming off of 5 All NBA seasons. Coming off a season when he took the Mavs to the NBA Finals. He's taking them to another Western Conference Finals. He's considered by most people the third best player in the league. Like in that top 3 conversation, is him, Jokic, and Giannis. You can dictate how the order you want to do. Anthony Davis to me is a top 10 to 15th ish player right now. When he's healthy, he's playing right, he's easily top 10. But there's some weeks where he's close to the top 15, if you ask me. I'm shocked because AD's 31 years old. He turned 32 soon. You know, Luka's 25. He turns 26 soon. Luka has another 10 years left. AD probably has another 3, maybe at the most 4 years playing at this level. To me, you did the Lakers a favor, man. The Lakers can now restart the future. Because as a Lakers fan, I was looking at like, damn, what are we going to do when LeBron and AD, gone? Hell, what are we going to do when LeBron leave and we still got AD, busted ass? Now, if you're a Lakers fan, you excited. You renewing your season tickets because you got a player that other people want to play with. You got a player that you can build around. And the NBA is almost like the NFL in this sense. In the NFL, you got to have one of them guys at quarterback to know that you got a chance to win the Super Bowl every year. In the NBA, if you got one of those 5 players, you can compete for a championship. As far as the Mavs and the immediate future, Kyrie, Klay Thompson, Blake Lively, some of the other players they got, and AD and the level AD's been playing this season, they can come out the West. They can be a championship team today. But they got a year, maybe 2 years at the most, with this current roster to try to win a title. They won't be able to compete probably in 3 years. And for the Lakers, they can't win it this year. They probably can't win it next year because they got to make more moves. But definitely year 3 going forward, they're going to be a title contender all the time just because they got Luka, man. So, hey, man, it was a great trade for the Lakers. I don't know what the Mavs is doing, man. Sees what you think.
If you weren't surprised by this, I think you're lying. Literally happened in the middle of the night. Luka actually lost money. I want to say it was like 139 mil or something because it was like, what was he supposed to have a supermax coming up or like a contract extension in like 2 years?
Yeah.
So he basically, in a way, it's like, did the Mavs do this to free up cap space? Or was it like, 2 for 2? Like, was it a move where they're saving themselves some money and they're getting somebody to add to their roster? It's like Luke. I wouldn't say Luka was in a slump, but 2 seasons ago he was in a slump. He had hit a point where he was in a slump. It was like, damn, like Luka, you supposed to be that dude. One of the best. Like, if not the number 1 player, you the number 2. You know what I mean? We was looking at, hey, it's these guys from Europe, the best 2 players in the league. And then like seeing Kyrie, literally he meshed well with Luka while he was there. So it's like to see that, and then like now it's like you have Luka going to LA, literally giving them a boost. I mean, he's gonna ball out. Like it's no point. At no point, it doesn't matter what team he goes to, he's gonna ball. I'm not gonna say he's gonna take you to a championship, but he's gonna ball out. So it's like it's a good trade. I didn't think it would. I would never guess this would happen, but hopefully AD is able to mesh well with Kyrie, Klay Thompson. They're starting 5 and really do some damage when it comes to. Who's to say next season it's not going to be the Mavs versus the Lakers? Who's to say that in the finals or the Western Conference Finals? Who's to say that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. That wasn't the only trade that happened this week. There was plenty of other trades. The Hawks traded DeAndre Hunter. The Lakers made another trade for Marcus Williams out of Charlotte to get themselves a center. The Warriors, Brandon Ingram got traded. Yeah. Where he got traded to?
Shit. I wanted Toronto. That's what.
Shit, do you know where they got back?
Got it.
Brandon Ingram got traded. Jimmy Butler went to the Warriors. The Suns wasn't even made no moves. They did trade Nurkic, that center away, and they need a good center play. And Fox got traded, man. I just want to talk about two trades.
And one more before we guess who's going back to Brooklyn?
Who?
Russell.
D'Angelo Russell?
Yeah, going back
from the Lakers back to Brooklyn.
Back to Brooklyn for like what is it? Third time?
Yeah. Swear they keep just passing that nigga around like he a hoe. But I just want to say this though, man. That De'Aaron Fox trade, man. I'm excited for Fox. Fox, I said this in the last episode. Fox to me is easily a top 5 point guard in the league. I got to see him play his first game the other night with Rose as a Spur, and he had 24 points his first night with them. He looked really good. You give him some time to gel with Vic, and they're going to be really, really dangerous, man. This year, they ain't going to compete. But, hey, after this year, the West, y'all don't know this because Vic is only getting better, and De'Aaron Fox is basically in the prime of his career. As far as the Jimmy Butler deal to the Warriors, hey, man, I don't see them winning the championship, but you got to try to do what you got to do the last couple of years with Steph Curry, man, because Steph Curry's been too great for that franchise for you to just basically let him dwindle on a sorry-ass team. You couldn't get KD because KD didn't want to come back. The next big fish out there was Jimmy Butler, so you did what you could, man. So, hey, man, good for Jimmy. He signed his little contract. He got the money he wanted. We'll see what happens in Golden State.
If Butler didn't get out of Miami this year, I literally think he would have been playing overseas. He would have got blackballed. He would have been shunned by the league. He probably would have made the situation so bad for himself. So it's a good thing that they got him out of there, and Miami's able to move forward. I think that's what they need to do. They played decently without him, and you said it last week. Jimmy Butler will get you to the playoffs, but he will not win you a championship. So he's got to go to Golden State with a core like Stephen Curry and the rest of the players to actually do something. I don't see them. Dynasty's over. I don't see the Golden State Warriors coming back, but I mean it's a good move for them. Kings and De'Aaron Fox with the Spurs, man. It was a 3-way trade with the Chicago Bulls. Zach LaVine, Chicago. They did their thing sometimes, and it was like, oh, Chicago might be back, but they haven't really. Levine's been there long enough where it's like really like it might need to make some moves. De'Aaron Fox, man, we said it last week. He's one of the best players. Him playing with Vic is only going to get they're gonna be nice. It's gonna be the Spurs are gonna be good. Put it like that. They got an old CP3's, older now, but he's really able to facilitate. I can see them really doing some damage, man.
So, we've been talking about a lot of NBA trades. But going to the NFL, Myles Garrett has requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns. Man, it's wild, man. It's sad when you draft a player and they become one of the best in the league because as a team, that's what you want. You draft a player and you have the expectations they become one of the best at their position and they help your team win. Myles Garrett, you can make the argument is not just the best defensive end in the NFL. He's probably the best defensive player. So he's a hell of a player. He's coming off a season where he just won Defensive Player of the Year. But unfortunately, man, that team just can't win, man. So I'm not mad at Myles Garrett for requesting this trade because he wants to try to win, and he only got a couple years left, especially at a position like defensive end. We've seen great defensive ends like Jared Allen. Shout out to him. He just made the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He deserved it. We've seen defensive ends like a DeMarcus Ware, who's also in the Hall of Fame. We've seen what they've done at the end of their career. They've gotten traded to teams to try to win the championship. Unfortunately for Jared Allen, when he got traded, he couldn't let the team didn't win. For DeMarcus Ware, he went to the Broncos, and if you remember, that was the team that won the Super Bowl back in, I think, 2015, 2014 or whatever, with the Denver Broncos Peyton's last run. So hopefully Myles Garrett can go somewhere. At the top of my head, man, the teams that I can think of that he could immediately make better, somebody threw out the Eagles. I'm not going to throw out teams that are already basically there. I'm going to throw out some teams that if he went there, he could take them to that next level. I'm going to say my Falcons because we need a pass rush. You know,
Broncos.
and he could take that defense to the next level. The
Broncos.
Broncos is another team. I don't know if they're good enough offensively to be good enough to win. The Lions, you pair him with an Adrian Hutchinson who comes back. I feel like that team can compete and that team can be really, really dangerous. And lastly, you know, even though this team is already kind of there, I feel like they don't have no one at the defensive line that I can look at and point at and say it's 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7, get to the quarterback, the Baltimore Ravens. You know, and I know a lot of times you don't trade within the division, but I feel like if somehow they can pull that trade off, I feel like that's a trade that really could help the Ravens because the last couple of years they've had good defenses, but they haven't had somebody that can win those one-on-one matchups to get to the quarterback on them 3rd and 4th down situations when we know the other team is passing. And I feel like that would be great. And let's remember something: as good of a passer as she is, Myles Garrett is one of the best defensive ends at stopping the run too. He does both very well, man. And he's athletic enough to get after the mobile quarterbacks.
Shoot, come to the Steelers, man. If the Ravens don't want you, we'll take you. Come to Pittsburgh. But yeah, I mean, with the Browns, man, he's not. They're not gonna do anything. We know that for a fact. So I mean, you're gonna start seeing players be more vocal, especially when you're at these like they're not the worst, but they're not the best.
I don't know. They're picking number 2 overall. That's pretty bad, C's.
So yeah, we'll see. But
So,
hopefully it ends up somewhere good.
so a team that I know is probably not going to be able to get him, and I said this team could potentially get him. He wants to get traded so he can do what? Win the Super Bowl? C's, man. We a couple of days away from the Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs trying to go for a three-peat. The Philadelphia Eagles trying to win their second Super Bowl in 5 years. On top of that, they trying to stop this reign of terror by the Kansas City Chiefs. Who do you think will win? Why?
Uh, all the betting managers, prize picks, MGM, all these people, and the refs. That's what's really going to win the game. That's really what's going to win the game for everybody. It's going to be the refs. But I think I'm just on the wave right now. I'm rooting for Philly. I think OKC's they're just too good, man. I don't see. I might be wrong. I mean, with Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, this might be the year finally. Either way, there's gonna be cars flipping Philly either way, but this might actually be the year. But I'm putting my trust in. I'm going with it. I would love to see them lose. I just think the Chiefs are playing at a level where they're not gonna lose right now. Not this year.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna be honest, man. I just feel like for some reason I've been wanting to pick the Chiefs for the last 2 weeks. I'm going Eagles. I don't know why, because everything tells me it should be the Chiefs because it just seems like they can't be beat. But it just seems like the football gods, when everybody's one-sided somewhere, it just seems like they say, "Gotcha, nigga." You know, I'm just saying this reminds me of when Dallas faced the Heat with LeBron and them, and everyone just thought it was going to be just a wash, and the next thing you know, the Mavs won that series. But I kind of feel like that. I feel like Jalen Hurts is going to put on one of those games like he did a couple years ago in the Super Bowl. I feel like Saquon's going to play well. I feel like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are going to show up. I feel like that defense is going to rise the fuck up and play lights out like it's been all season, especially in the playoffs, because a lot of people just feel like, even though that defense has been great, a lot of people feel like the Super Bowl, they're not going to play at the level they've been playing at. And when I look at the Chiefs, man, they've been winning these games close. They don't really have nobody offensively that just strikes fear in my heart besides Kelsey, but you can tell age has caught up to him. But that man Pat Mahomes is still that nigga. I just feel like the Eagles have to win this game because when you don't let Saquon go for the record, you do that for this game. You want him fresh, not to get to the Super Bowl, because you've been to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. You want him fresh to win the Super Bowl. So like you need to win this game, and I just feel like that's what it is, man. I'm gonna let you answer this question in a minute, but if the Kansas City do win this game, I feel like this just puts them on a different stratosphere in terms of greatest teams of all time. I feel like the only team you can make the argument that's better than this team is the 72 Dolphins that were undefeated. But besides that, I feel like them having won back-to-back, everything they had to do just to get back to the Super Bowl and win it, I feel like you can't say nothing about that. As far as dynasties in the NFL, I feel like this will become the greatest NFL dynasty because they'll have 4 Super Bowls in 5-6 years? You know, but then doing those 4 Super Bowls, you got 3 back to back, which has never been done before. Like, yeah, some of them historians would tell you Vince Lombardi Packers did it because he won the first, he won the NFL championship, then he won the first 2 Super Bowls. But let's just keep it real. That's a whole different kind of thing in itself. But in terms of actual Super Bowls, no one's actually done it. What this does for Pat, a lot of people already got him kind of in that GOAT status. This kind of puts him right next to Tom Brady. If he's not better than Tom Brady, you can make the argument. What it does for Andy Reid, it puts him, if not above Bill Belichick, kind of next to him. Because when you do a three-peat, even though it's only 1 championship, that's like an extra championship just because you did it 3 years in a row. You know? Like when you get 3 championships, that's 3 championships. But when those 3 championships are back to back to back, that's like a 4th championship, to be honest, because it's just so hard to stay that competitive every single year. And as far as the Eagles, man, if they win, the 2 biggest winners is Jalen Hurts, because now people got to shut the fuck up and leave you alone, because you're the quarterback of a Super Bowl winning team, as well as Jalen Hurts will be the first running quarterback. Like we've had black quarterbacks win, but he'll be the first running quarterback to actually win the Super Bowl. And then the second biggest winner to me is Saquon. Because that nigga was, a year ago, he was in New York. He was with the Giants. They was floundering. And a lot of people was thinking, bro, Saquon's not even, like, a lot of people thought, I ain't gonna say he was a bust, but we was not talking about Saquon like we are this year. You know?
He was literally dragging that team around. Like, he put the team on his back.
He was, but his numbers, do you know his best season before this year was 1,300 rushing yards? Which for great running backs, 1,300 rushing yards is not a lot. What he did this year, oh my God, it makes you just wonder if he would have been in a better situation, would we have seen this Saquon a long time ago? So Saquon's the biggest winner because he got out of New York, and that led to him possibly winning the Super Bowl. And I'm be honest, I'm gonna let you say get to it, C's. How is the general manager for the Giants still even got a job? Like, nigga, you should be fired. The minute the Eagles made it to the Super Bowl, and then now Saquon's the offensive player of the year, if I'm the owner of the Giants, niggas, you fired.
Man, they're probably looking for their 2031 drafts. Like, they're probably on a 5-6 year outlook. They know they ain't doing shit. So, I mean, and it's 2 teams, Cowboys, Giants, who's worse?
So who does a win benefit most to you in this game? In terms of people, in terms of players and coaches' legacies?
Saquon, it'll validate him as being probably being the best running back in the league currently. He wins this. Jalen Hurts, like, he'll be, like you said, the pure running athlete. He's probably, it'll solidify his legacy. And then Andy Reid finally gets, like, the pay. He's not getting his payback. The payback's on him now because he beat him the first time.
Yeah, he did.
Now it's like, hey, you fine. We got you. It's like, hey, It's like we love what you did for the city, but hey, this is a big fuck you. You know what I mean?
All right, man. So last question, we're gonna move on. I'm gonna answer it too. What does the Eagles have to do to win? What do the Chiefs have to do to win? And you said you got the Chiefs. Who's gonna be the MVP?
Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes will be the MVP if the Chiefs win. I think his numbers will be off the charts, even if some of these receivers, like it would have to be like receiver has record breaking numbers, or he just does the play that's that big, that pivotal to the game. It'll be a receiver getting it. And then like the Chiefs basically need to stick to what they've been doing. You know, pass the ball. You know, they're not really. I'm not gonna say they're not a running team, but they got a great running back. But the pass is really gonna be their thing. With Jalen Hurts, you literally have weapons. He literally has weapons. Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, and you got a running back. And literally, the quarterback can run the ball himself. There's gonna be they gonna get this working. Like I'm telling you, like on the run, like rushing, the Eagles about to get this work in. They're about to put some work in on the ground. So I mean, and then defensively, like they just gotta stop. They gotta stop the deep passes. Like them third down where it's like, oh, where Patrick Mahomes is literally rushing for three, running for 3 yards in that slide, knock his block off. Fuck that, knock his block off.
Yeah, man. I'm picking the Eagles 35-31. I'm going Saquon MVP. I think he's gonna have a couple touchdowns. He's gonna go over 100 yards. I think we're gonna see receiving Saquon too. You know, Saquon catching the ball out of the backfield because I think he's gonna have to because the Chiefs are very good at the run. For the Eagles to win, they gotta put pressure on Pat Mahomes, and they gotta take away Kelsey. If they could take away Kelsey and put pressure on Pat Mahomes consistently, so they can get at least 5 sacks in the game, I feel like the Eagles will win this game if they get 5 sacks on him, and Kelsey is almost non-existent in the game. For the Chiefs, I feel like the first thing they got to do is stop the run. Saquon can't have no more than 80 yards rushing. If Saquon breaks 80 yards rushing and has multiple touchdowns, I don't see how the Chiefs can win this game. And Pat Mahomes, he got to be able to throw the ball against this secondary because this secondary has been lights out since they put them rookies in the secondary for the Eagles. So Hopkins got to have a game. Hopkins got to bring himself back to life. Worthy got to play like he did in the AFC Championship. Hollywood Brown got to play well. You know, Kelsey got to be active. And they need at least one catch of 40 yards or plus. They got to get at least one catch to get them safeties scared. They can't just dink and dunk against this secondary because this defense is too good to have long, sustained drives on. They got to have at least one touchdown of 40 yards plus, in my opinion, because it's going to be hard for them to drive consistently against this team because I think the Eagles will put some points up because they're that good. Moving on to TNT, though. Dynamite, y'all. So, speaking of something that could have had a whole spot blown up if this was your child, there was a daycare worker that got arrested and fired for slapping a 2-year-old. Now, apparently, she said the 2-year-old boy spit on her when she was trying to get the 2-year-old boy to stop playing around, and she slapped him, and she said it was a reaction. Man, I got tears because, you know, you got to have more self-control when you're dealing with kids of a certain age. You got to understand when you're dealing with kids and the elderly, they either cannot control their faculties or they are not disciplined enough to not do certain things. So I feel like what happens in those situations, you need people in those positions that have enough self-restraint, control, not to lose their temper, not to lose their cool in certain situations. And also you got to remember that's someone's child. And certain things are not appropriate. So for you to slap the child because the child spit on you, especially without the context of was they just talking and spit on you or did they just hop to it at you? You know, these are things that has to be discussed. Now, if the child just hawk two at the woman, of course, that's something that the parents got to teach the child. It's not okay to spit. But once again, it's a 2-year-old, you know? And these are the people that we have working in some of these fields. And you got to be mindful and careful when you decide to leave your kids in the custody of other people, especially in this situation, whether it's a daycare worker or not, that's still a stranger to you.
Yeah, it's 2 years. It's a 2-year-old. This is what they do. It's not a 5-year-old, not a 6-year-old. You know, not a toddler. It's literally still a baby. Technically, still a baby. 2 years old. You know, it's just one of those things. You got to have more self control. I don't have pity for her because if it was my child, I'd be getting a charge myself because I'd be attacking her. But you know, it's an unfortunate situation. Thankfully, the child's not injured from what I've heard. You just got to be more. If you know your temperament, man, you just got to be working around people that are disabled, elderly, or children. You have to be in his right mindset, and apparently she wasn't.
Yeah, I'm being honest, C's. She probably was in the car before she went to work, and she probably took a couple shots of that Don Julio. Had her acting a Fulio. Speaking of Don Julio, did you know that Popeyes and Don Julio got a collab going on, C's?
Yeah, it's exclusive, man. You can't get that in every city, bro.
I know, in the words of Juice, man, that's that exclusive shit. So with that being said, man, I got tears of laughter. Because niggas that have been losing their mind. First of all, bro, see, this the shit where you know they targeting niggas. This nigga.
Have you not seen They Clone Tyrone? Have you not seen that movie?
Like, this is the shit where you know they targeting niggas. The only thing more niggerish that they could have happened if it would have been Hennessy doing a collab with Popeyes. The fact they got the Don Julio, and then the fact that I've been seeing videos of people mad because they ain't been pouring Don Julio in the lemonade. Niggas thought they was going to literally be able to order Don Julio strawberry lemonade from Popeyes.
Strawberry lemonade hibiscus.
Yes.
Hibiscus lemonade.
You know, when in reality, all they did was put a little bit of Don Julio into the sauce of sun chicken that they made. Yo, I seen videos of motherfuckers pouring, like literally buying bars of Don Julio and pouring it on chicken and eating it.
What?
Yes, I've seen niggas have went to the store, got Popeye's chicken, got a bottle of Don Julio, poured the Don Julio on the chicken, and just started eating it, dog. Like the shit that niggas do, Pilates, you can't be amazed because niggas do shit all the time, and it gets to the point it's like these niggas. That's why they smoke menthols. That's why they drink Hennessy. Niggas don't need a reason to do shit, sees. So, tears of laughter.
I have no tears. Boondocks predicted this. So many. What was it? Undercover Brother, Colonel's Fried Chicken. I mean, it's been all over the place. This is nothing new, nothing surprising. It's just funny the fact that I've seen the post. After I seen a couple videos on YouTube, people reviewing it, literally, the dude was going around with a tequila, with a Don Julio bottle, pouring it in people's joint, like pouring them a shot in a lemonade or whatever. The only thing I can say, if I was able to get my hands on it, the bag and the cup was nice. Don't front. You know that bag?
Yeah, the bag was nice.
You know that bag was nice. I mean, literally, the wings look good. It actually looked legit. It was legit, man. It was actually a legit thing they did. But if you seen the movie that Clone Tyrone, they put in the shit in the chicken. It's in the chicken, bro. They trying to kill you.
You know what's so crazy, bro? I love how motherfuckers keep want to reference that movie as if Undercover Brother. I'm just saying, if Undercover Brother didn't come out in 2000, the early 2000s, and they had the same exact.
Well, you went from
setup.
laughing at it to being, it's realistic. This seems so real. It's like we seen it, how people acted. You remember the first time of Popeyes?
I'm just saying, you can find plenty of movies and TV shows where they're trying to tell you they are putting stuff in your food to control you.
Anytime you have
Futurama has done this. I'm just saying, South Park has done it. Like, but I keep hearing, man, you gotta watch. They clone Tyrone,
It was
and this is the first time they ever did this.
it was too
This is the
soon.
first time they probably did it on a massive scale in terms of Netflix being as big as it is. But this is some normal shit. I expect these fast food places to kill you.
It's too authentic though. It was like real with it. It was like you call him Tyrone. It's like damn, this is crazy. And then you just laughed at it when you seen it Undercover Brother in the Boondocks. You just laughed at it. But I remember the first time they came up with the Popeyes chicken sandwich when the chick was wrapped around. They talking about, oh, we out of chicken. It's like, how the hell are you out of chicken?
Somebody got stabbed over a chicken sandwich seeds.
Somebody got stabbed. Somebody got shot. But yeah, I got no tears for that, man.
Man, so talking about people potentially losing their lives. There was a 21-year-old found deceased in a car. So apparently the whole story is this. There was a man who got arrested for reckless driving. Went to the police station, was released, and everything. But apparently in the car was a deceased 21-year-old. Now the person driving was 19. The mother was on the news because she wanted answers in one, how was the 19-year-old just released? I figure out, like, how is it that you basically released him back, but my son was dead in the car, and they don't really have answers for that yet. Um, I got tears because a mother lost her son, and we don't know what happened. Like, we don't know how he passed away, why he passed away. We don't know if the 19-year-old had anything to do with it. Like, it's just a crazy, bizarre situation. It's one of those situations where it's just you wake up, something you get some tragic news, and you're just wondering why. And I just feel like that's a pain I don't wish on nobody in terms of their loved ones, because you don't want nobody's loved ones to be taken away. But if they are, you would at least like want them to have closure. And this is a situation where it's gonna be hard to find that closure because just truthfully, we got to find out what did he pass away from, and then we got to find out how did everything happen, and then we got to find out why was he allowed to just sit in this car while the other person was basically being detained and asked questions. So definitely have tears for the family.
I mean, so they actually like GBI homicide came by, so it wasn't like don't think, oh, there's a deceased person in the car and they just arrest him and leave him. Like, nah, they actually came and got the body and did a thorough. I'm not gonna say thorough, but did an actual investigation. Got the car, got the deceased person, the 21-year-old, took dude in, investigated everything, and then later released him. I think it's just weird that they didn't let the mother know what happened. Maybe it's just a mishap. It's probably on the police department. They probably were trying to fill the gaps themselves. Didn't know what was going on, and they didn't relay the information to the mother. Also, is like, what's his relationship to dude? Is this his friend? Is this a homeboy? Like, what happened? And it's like, if he was hurt or something, why wouldn't you just say something to him like, "Yo, I'm so sorry, but this is what happened to your son, blah blah blah." So it just seems like a weird situation, man. It's very unfortunate. Tears for that. And I mean, any mother, any parent's gonna have that type of reaction.
Yeah, man. Talking about somebody passing away, record producer and one of the people that ran Murder Inc. Irv Gotti passed away at 54 years old. He had a stroke earlier in the week. Apparently, he had complications with diabetes. I ain't gonna lie, I got tears. I was talking to my brother TTK. Eminem is 52, Jay Z is 55. 54 is not old. For him to have this kind of money, and for them to kind of release the day that, the cause of his death was complications to diabetes, it kind of shocked me only because people with that kind of money, they do a better job at taking care of themselves, and at least when it comes to, sustainable stuff like diabetes. But as far as what it just means musically, man, the 2000s was one of those periods in music where Murder Inc. was popping. Like if you wasn't alive when Murder Inc. was at its height, you really don't understand how big Ja Rule was. You really don't understand how big Ashanti was. Like they was two of the biggest stars in the music industry. Like Ja Rule was easily a top 5 rapper in terms of the hits he was putting out and how and what his name meant if you had him on a track. Ashanti was she was the girl at one point in time. Like she was the bitch. Like she like during that era of Beyonce and all these other motherfuckers, she had a 2-year run where she was the one. Like she dropped some music, people
Beyonce who?
yeah, she dropped some music. People was listening to Ashanti music. You got Ashanti on the hook. Man, I'll never forget Fat Joe got that song What's Love with Ashanti. That was a hot ass song.
Guess who produced that? I want to say Irv had
Yeah,
something.
Irv produced that. And I think that's something that I was telling C's about when I heard Irv Gotti passed. We just think about just Murder Inc., you know.
He was a
But
producer way before he.
bro, he produced, Jay music on Jay Z's album Reasonable Doubt. Now, depending on how you feel about Jay Z's catalog, I want someone that, to me, his catalog is not as strong as other people, but to me, Reasonable Doubt is probably his best album. You know,
You gonna make people mad, man. Come
I mean,
on.
yeah, some people might say other albums, but I don't want to get too bogged down. But Reasonable Doubt is a very strong album, and he produced that song "Can I Live." Irv Gotti has done a lot in the music industry. He produced DMX first project, first album.
That's what I was about to get at. I was about to, people forget he produced DMX. I'm like, that's another one. He was
So
pivotal.
what this means for the music industry, like he's not as big a name as Diddy, but in terms of what he did, in terms of discovering some artists, because he helped discover Jay Z, he helped discover Ja Rule, he helped discover an Ashanti,
Lloyd.
he helped discover Lord. Like in terms of what he did, making music, and no disrespect to Diddy, like Diddy has credits, but when you talk to people in the industry, in terms of production wise, creating a song, like you can't put Diddy and Irv Gotti in the same sentence. So definitely this is a musical legend. If you love hip hop, if you are into rap, and if you remember that late '90s to 2005 era of Murder Inc., like when Murder Inc. was at its power before 50 Cent dismantled them, like Irv Gotti and Ja Rule was a big part of that. So it's just crazy. I know they haven't done much lately, but you got to give propers when propers is earned. So tears.
I mean, even when like simply like some of these songs we were talking about, you know how they basically all these newer artists are basically flipping all the old songs. How many times Ashanti's "Rock With You" been flipped? You know,
Yeah,
"Foolish," and then there's the what's the song with the Biggie remix, "Foolish."
yeah,
Then you know the joint with the music video with Terrence Howard. But I mean, Irv is definitely one of the heavyweights in the game. I mean, it's part of the culture. You talk a lot of shit. You run bullshit. You know you was balling back in the day. We talk about people that was throwing t-shirts wearing them one time. You know he goes along that same Dame Dash. You know that same just shit talking type of deal like persona. And I mean like he was literally talking about there was somebody trying to sign him, one of these white executives trying to sign him, and they only wanted to give him 3 million. He 10 times that shit. And now we're getting into the era where people were like selling catalogs. Hopefully he got them sold and he's his family's good. But I mean, like New York dude, Irv, man, I think I want to say he was either from Brooklyn or from Queens. I forgot, man. But Irv from out there. But definitely a legend in the streets, man, and hip hop, like overall, man, like his legacy, bro. Like you definitely going down in history, man.
yeah, man. So Irv Gotti was big in the music industry. I don't know how many Grammys he won, if any. We know hip hop gets disrespected at Grammys a lot. Man, this past Sunday we had the Grammys. Kendrick racked up the awards. A lot of people racked up a lot of awards. Doechii won Rap Album of the Year, and Beyonce even won Album of the Year total. Um, I got tears. Some of it is of joy. Some of it is of sadness. I'm happy Beyonce won Album of the Year because she got disrespected by the CMAs. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can think the album was not good or not, but but the fact that she was even nominated at the CMAs for her album was disappointing. I was happy that she actually won. She gets snubbed at the Grammys a lot. So that was to me a great moment for her, and it just kind of showed that the CMAs, y'all got to do better. There's no way that she won Album of the Year for a country album, and you didn't think it would be good for y'all as a genre of music to have someone like Beyonce not just be nominated, but possibly win some awards. Like, this is the reason why country music is dwindling in this country. At one point in time, country music was the hottest thing. That's the reason why a lot of motherfuckers don't listen to it like that no more. As far as Kendrick, man, I kind of got tears of sadness when I really kind of just looked at it. Like, I love Kendrick. Kendrick gets a lot of love at the Grammys, and it's kind of crazy because we look at Drake as his industry plan, and I never really understood during the rap battle seas why we looked at like Kendrick as this pure person compared to Drake in terms of the industry itself, because Drake don't really win that many Grammys. Like, Kendrick has over 20 something Grammys. Like, Kendrick always does well at the Grammys. Like, I remember Rose texted me Kendrick has 3 Grammys already, and I text him back, not surprised. He always does well at the Grammys. But I guess because niggas don't watch the Grammys, we don't keep up with it. But in terms of this era of rap, Kendrick is the one. He's Eminem. The way people was mad in the 2000s when Eminem won all the Grammys, Kendrick has pretty much won all the Grammys. Like, the years that Drake and J. Cole has had their biggest songs and their biggest albums, Kendrick was still winning Grammys.
As a fan of, as a K Dot fan, I'm go back way back, because I'm talking like Section 80, K Dot, Monster. My first impression of Kendrick was when he dropped that Monster freestyle, and after that, it was sold. He dropped Section 80. I was like, yo, I'm a fan. I always been more of a Kendrick fan than
He's a great artist. I'm not taking nothing from him.
I think what it is he might have gotten Grammys. I don't think we really paid attention to when
But that's what I'm saying. Like, when they broke it down, when they broke the beef down, bruh, it was broken down like this for those who's actually paying attention to the actual beef online. Drake, most popular rapper out of the 3.
Yeah.
He gets all the Billboard records. Kendrick, the most decorated rapper, because he gets all the Grammys. And J. Cole, he's just viewed as the purest.
Purest, right? But I think that's
and that was the debate. So when I heard people trying to make it seem like Drake was the industry plan and all this other stuff, it just was kind of odd, because it was like, if he's the industry plan, why he doesn't have more Grammys? Like, he's most notably, when the Grammys came out last year, 2 years ago, he had to give a speech about don't let these awards fill your head up because you don't get recognized like that. So Drake's had years where he's had the number 1 song that whole year and hasn't even won in the rap category. But the reason why I'm really just probably the most sad is it just kind of reminds me of Denzel winning Oscar for Training Day. Like, Not Like Us is probably your most popular song, but it's probably not the song that you should have really won Record of the Year and Song of the Year for, because you've had better music. And for those who don't understand, Denzel has played roles in movies like Malcolm X and John Q and roles where he's played respectable black men. It took him being a bad guy to win an Oscar. I just feel like why did it take Kendrick having to disrespect another black man to win a Grammy in terms of these big categories? And I ain't gonna lie, I felt cringe seeing a lot of white people celebrating Not Like Us. When you think about Not Like Us, is him taking shots at Drake, calling Drake a pedo, calling Drake not black. It just made me feel cringe. Because it felt like there was some undertones to that, and why the Grammys felt like this was the rap song we chose to give the award to. It was the opposite of when Gambino won for This Is America, where he was uplifting black people, versus this is the Kendrick song where I'm not going to say he was not uplifting black people, but he was dismantling another black man in front of white people. And white people were celebrating that.
People love controversy, so that's one thing. When it came out earlier in the beef, I felt like it's what was needed, because I felt like we would have got to the point to where like beef was beef still. It's just like, nah, we're going back to like some ether. We're gonna burn like track for track, we're gonna burn you. You know what I mean? We didn't get that. That literally did not happen. It's like literally dude bowed out. I think Drake was just held at such a high echelon, and it's like I'm not gonna say the Grammys don't matter, but culturally now there's I'm not gonna say streets, but the culture. When the culture gives you the accolades, means so much more, and it's the fact that it literally was so big with the internet, social media, and memes and stuff. That's why it won a Grammy. Like we're gonna look back and we're gonna remember all the crazy jokes and stuff that came along with the song. Literally, probably was not his best album, but he did put a lot of people on. And then visually, like the music video is crazy. I just heard a track where they put "Holla Back Girl" literally to the track of "Not Like Us," and like it slaps. It's literally like a song like it matches so well. And then it's just like, bro, like overall, like I'm not gonna say the Grammys don't matter. They don't matter like they used to. It's not, it don't hit the same. Just like a lot of stuff. It's 2025. A lot of shit don't hit the same. Beyonce, I don't really have tears for that. She did get snubbed, but it's not even country I would listen to. Honestly, I was more big on like Shabuzi. That whole like it's a new era of country music, but I'm not gonna diss Beyonce for it. It's just like, hey, good for her. You know, there's a lot of other artists, especially black artists, that I'm looking towards with country music. So I mean, feel however you want to feel. I'm celebrating. Hey, Beyonce, kudos to you, Doechii. Somebody who's actually been grinding. I seen her on social media. I haven't
Well, you
actually.
think she deserved that award, bro? Let's be real.
She hot, man. She did that. She did it NPR. I always tell y'all, go back and watch NPR. It's probably not even her best song. She was just hot right now, and her story's inspirational. But let me tell you why I got tears for her.
I'm listening.
On the same night, in the same speech, right after when she performed, why are all these women in drawers? She's not even in a bikini, not no like outfit, most of them wear. She was literally in like some like it looked like an underwear set. Like she had on like Calvin Klein. You know how Calvin Klein commercials look?
I think that's how she presents a lot of her music, though.
But I'm saying it's literally like you doing that on stage. This is live, international, and this is what you wear. And then literally like probably her worst song. Yeah, I like drugs. I like this. I like that. I like strippers. I like drugs. And it's just like, this is what we present to the people. We've gotten down like, and I can't just say it's just hip hop. It's literally pop music, the same shit. Talk about the same shit. Besides, like when Ed Sheeran win, when Ed Sheeran and all them other people.
So you think her album was better than Might Delete Later by J. Cole, Death of Slim Shady, and We Don't Trust You by Future and Metro Boomin?
Absolutely not.
And I only say that because I didn't start hearing about any of her music till literally like a month ago.
But I'm not gonna knock a black woman because she winning. So I'm not gonna knock her. It's good for overall, and I'm not gonna say that was probably her worst song. There was a video she had.
Can spit, bro. I'm not saying she can't spit. All I'm just saying is these metrics for the Grammys be so convoluted at times. I don't know how we're doing it because if we're going off of the best lyrical album,
and then sometimes
the best album concept, then it's Eminem's Death of Slim Shady.
Sometimes
if we're going off of the album that meant the most, had the greatest impact, then it's Future and Metro Boomin. I just need to know the metric.
Sometimes
because the album did poorly in sales wise. Like they said, it only sold like 11,000 units in the first week.
Sometimes we got to take a step back and say, hey, maybe I need to check this project out. She probably got some fire shit on it.
Gorilla album sold way more than that album did. And her album was even nominated. So I'm just saying, I just need to know what is the metric that we are nominating these Grammys for, and that we're voting it on. Because the Oscars will tell you straight up, it's not about how much money a movie make. They'll tell you that straight up.
It's literally the Grammys are the same way.
Because I've heard it both ways. I've heard people from the Grammy say, "Yeah, sometimes it's about how good something does in terms of record sales, but then now sometimes it's the artistic value of something too." And it's like y'all go back and forth like that. When Beyonce was losing on them Grammys and she was having the best album that year, it was like, "Oh, it's not about that." But then when Taylor Swift had the album that made the most money that year, they were like, "Well, this album made the most money this year. Which one is it?" That's all I'm asking. Which one is it?
That's just the bullshit they tell you with
I know.
with Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift was exclude that shit, like strike that out. That's a whole nother story. But I mean, like, bro, there's literally no metrics on it, and we still got the Billboard Awards, we still got the BET Awards, still got so much more to go through this year.
I don't even think this album would have been nominated at BT Awards, bro. If I'm being real,
She would definitely be one of the headliners performing.
she probably would perform, but I don't think her album will be nominated.
Who knows? They might get a boost now.
Maybe in the female category, but not just in total.
It might get a boost now. Who knows?
It could be, man. But shout out to her regardless, man. Hey, man, shout out to these hoes, man, who be selling their birthday, man. What's wrong with these hoes, y'all?
What's wrong with them? If your birthday is on the 22nd of February, I don't want to be celebrating on the 1st through the 18th. Damn near the 20th. I want to celebrate your birthday on your birthday week. If you got to work or I got to work, we'll turn up when we turn up. But you celebrating your birthday for a whole month, appreciate your life. Celebrate life. But don't expect me to spend my money for the whole month for you.
Man, bro, it used to be we celebrated your birthday one day. On your birthday, sometimes it can't be on your birthday because we've grown, we got work. But we used to celebrate it for one day. Then it got to the point niggas started celebrating for a whole week. And we started letting that shit slide.
When has I don't know. I don't have any friends.
I'm talking about these hoes.
You said niggas, so I was like, oh my bad.
I'm just saying that these hoes, like it used to be just one day, then it graduated. I actually skipped, then it graduated to the whole weekend.
Yep. Then it was the whole week.
Then it transformed to the whole week. Now, bruh, at the first of the month, I see hoes post, "It's my birth month." Bitch, it's only 12 months out the fucking year. It's going to be somebody's birth month every goddamn month. It's only 12 months out the fucking year. I got 5 motherfucking friends whose birthdays in February. I can't do it with y'all all fucking month. Like I can fuck with y'all on your birthday or whatever day you choose to celebrate your birthday, but you hoes gotta stop this shit. But fuck that, fuck the whole birth month thing. I'm tired of the fact that you hoes are so broke and so thirsty for money that when your birthday come around, you be having stuff you want to do, like go out to the bar, go out to the club, but you broke and you expect other niggas to pay for it because it's your fucking birthday. Like, it blows my fucking mind because hoes will be like, yeah, I'm trying to get, I don't know, let's just say some pots and pans. And they'll send you Amazon, but yeah, though, like, yeah, they send you this stuff, bruh, and they expect you to get it for them. And my question is, like, hold up, first of all, wait one fucking minute. We grown. You can't afford to buy the shit for yourself? Like, it really seems like some of these hoes use their birthday to get the stuff they've been wanting all year from other people. That's some broke nigga shit. Like, you the same motherfuckers that expect a gift on Christmas and we grown.
Bertizzi, are you calling these hoes broke?
Yeah, they broke. They broke, they beggars, they thirsty because you trying to get stuff out of people on your birthday. Now, if somebody bless you and they decide to get you something for your birthday, like shout out to Rose. Rose, one of the few people every year he makes sure he get me something for my birthday, even if it's just a bottle. So if that's some shit you do, cool. Shout out to that, man. Same thing around Christmas time. Like if you choose to give a gift to a grown person on Christmas, shout out to you, man. But that's not no shit you have to do now. Like once we get to a certain age, you are grown, you work. Like you got to get your own self shit. Like the reason why I don't be caring if nobody give me nothing for my birthday, because the shit I want, I bought myself a gold chain last year for my birthday because I was like, I want a gold chain. And I went ahead and spent my own money for it, If I want to go on a trip somewhere, I set money aside and I take a trip, because I want to go on a trip. I'm not out here saying, my birthday next week sees, go and shoot me some money so I can do this. And then y'all hoes got the audacity. It's my birthday. Can you come out to my birthday dinner so you can pay for my seafood boil? Bitch, what? So if I don't come, how you gonna pay for it? Well, can you just shoot me the money and I pay for it? Bitch. So basically what you're saying is you so broke that you can't go to Juicy Crab, Red Crab, Top Crab, Fuck a Crab, and pay for your own seafood bowl. Like, come on, man.
Seafood boil's expensive though.
Hey, nigga, you knew your birthday. You knew when your birthday was. You knew your birthday is February the 20th. You knew that shit last year. So you should have been setting money aside so you can go to whatever crab place you want and get whatever the fuck you want to get. Not been thinking, hey, I'm going to get a nigga, especially a nigga I'm not even fucking, and get him to pay for my shit. And even if you is fucking, I'm one of 5 niggas you fucking. So it's like, why am I giving you the whole 60 for the crab boil? Bitch, I should only be giving you like $12. Get the other $12 from the other niggas. That's division for you hoes that forgot how to do math. 5 goes into 60 12 times.
Yeah, I mean, this is literally we talking about the same generation that literally takes you, oh, $20 for lunch. That's not enough. I can spend $30 on lunch by myself. Where the fuck are you going for lunch for $30? Like, damn, you don't never make a damn sandwich at the house, a chicken salad sandwich or a damn tuna fish at the damn house. You don't bring lunch to work.
Nah, cause them hoes don't want to cook nowadays.
I mean that too. But I mean, like, literally, I've been in the situations where people had to pull my teeth to do something to come out. That's like, what we doing for your birthday? I didn't plan on doing shit. But since you asked, we might as well turn up. But I mean, it's just like, nigga, like, man, we don't have to do nothing. Like, nobody's obligated to do nothing for your birthday. And it's like, you taking out, I'm not gonna say you feel so important, but it's like, y'all gotta stop doing this shit because it's mostly females that do this shit and they celebrate the whole birthday. So I mean,
the whole month.
The whole month, the birthday for the whole month. And it's just like, we're not saying you're not important, but it's just like, dog, it gets to a point.
And it's easy to do as a woman when you go into all these clubs and bars and you have people at your house all the time, or your mama's house, or your grandma's house, or wherever the fuck you at. But you're not the one paying for the bottles. You're not the one paying for the shots. Because what you're doing is you out here online begging. You out here doing OnlyFans to make $30 so you can go and get a bottle, or $40 so you can get a bottle. Like, it's easy for y'all to do that shit. It's a reason why niggas, we pick a fucking day. Hey, my birthday the 12th, but I ain't free to the 17th because the 12th is a motherfucking Tuesday. The 17th is Saturday. We gonna throw a party at the crib, but we gonna go out, we gonna turn up, and that's it. Like, we might get together amongst ourselves, do some shots throughout the week or whatever, because it's my motherfucking birthday, whatever, throughout the week. But we gonna pick a day to actually turn up. Y'all hoes can't pick one day. Man, pick one day. Let me know what the turn up day is. Because I'm not turning up with you the whole fucking month and spending money for a whole goddamn month. Now I'm looking this March. I'm in the black.
Why not?
Because I ain't got that kind of money. That's why.
But you supposed to.
Man, hell no. Y'all hoes got to get this shit together. Either get your own fucking money or be like Jada Pinkett Smith and motherfucking set it off. And you better go find Nate and get the money that way. But you get the money.
Yeah, stop doing this shit.
And on to the last topic of the night. We talked about Irv Gotti and we talked about the Grammys. We was sent a video by Rose that said 1998 was a great year for rap. So because it was such a great year for rap, like, we was thinking to ourselves, okay, cool. What would be the 3 best years for rap based off of the albums? So based off of the albums that came out in a year, what would be the top 3 years? C's, what you got?
So this was literally when I saw that album, they were talking about specifically 1998. It was a hot year. Then we had the same discussion like 2, 3 weeks ago. Literally, the 90s. When we say like the 80s was great, if you're a hip hop fan, go back and listen to the 80s. Big Daddy Kane, Boogie Down Productions, Juice Crew, all them. 80s, great, fantastic, love them. 90s was the golden era. It was just so much hip hop grew up. It had so much variety amongst everything. And it's just like when I name these albums, we talking about pivotal albums and albums that stretch the genre. We talking about albums that open up different areas where people were looking at like the Bay, Atlanta, Florida, Memphis, all these different areas. And like just New York itself, like hip hop was literally growing into its own thing. It's like, okay, hip hop was hot in the 80s and the 90s. It's just so much that went on. So I got to pick my birth year, 1992. So it was a debate, it was a toss up, but this is literally one of the greatest. I want to say they're top five, in my opinion, top five hip hop duo, rapper producer duo of all time. Like literally rappers besides like groups like EPMD, like actual groups, like EPMD. I can't say Public Enemy because they had different producers, but it's an ensemble. But Pete Rock and CL Smooth,
That's a very good choice, man.
Mecca.
Speaking of that, Pete Rock was nominated for a Grammy this year for an album he dropped.
Congratulations to him, man. Hey Pete Rock, you need to stop messing around. Get cool with CL Smooth. CL Smooth said, "I'll straight business with you. We ain't gotta talk. We can just do the album." Do that, cause I literally like y'all dropped that one project, disappeared. CL Smooth said, "We're not cool, but the people keep asking me for it. Every time I get a call, I get tweets, I get messages. People keep asking for this shit. Y'all dropped one of the greatest projects, and it's one particular song. Once you hear that, they literally revitalized jazz with that. They literally said, when you hear them horns on Troy, they reminisce over you. Trust me, you heard that.
Oh man, bro, that's an amazing fucking song. Yeah.
Shout out to NBA Street Volume 2. That was they one of the highlight songs on the album. But I mean, they just did so much on that album. It did so much, and they had a lot of other songs. And then around that same time, Run DMC dropped the album Down with the Kings. It was a song with CL Smooth and Pete Rock. That's another one of my. The next one, Change the Face of Hip Hop. Pharcyde. We're talking about like one of the groups. If you want to
keep on running,
and then Bizarre Ride on the Pharcyde,
passing me by.
They're literally doing their thing. They came up with a second album, but a lot of these great groups fell apart. Like they just they didn't go through the whole thing. But I mean, like literally, like it's so much in this time. Like it's so like the variety. You literally have the variety in '92. The next one, Arrested Development. Take me to a better place. Tennessee.
Yeah, that's an interesting one right there. That's an interesting one.
They did it so different. Nobody was making. They were actually from the South too. A lot of people forget that shit. They're from the South. I want to say they're from like Alabama, or they might be from Tennessee, but I want to say they're from Alabama. Some of the members are from Alabama. They literally, we're talking about groups that changed the face of hip hop around this era. And then their album was called 3 Years, 5 Months, and 2 Days of My Life. Long ass title, but Arrested Development. If you've ever heard that Tennessee song, one of the greatest hip hop songs of all time, it changed. Like you have to evolve, and you don't have a Childish Gambino. You don't have all these different artists. And then I got a classic. I just had to pick. I picked my favorites. Trust me, I could have just did the list and just dropped 10 on you. Just like, hey, go listen to these albums.
Sure.
UGK, one of the greatest groups of all time.
Shout out to Rose, man. He loved that group.
Too Hard to Swallow. And then next, it was a toss-up. I said I just had to go a couple years later down the road. 1996, we changed the game again. Fuji La La La. Fugees, one of the greatest hip-hop groups of all time. The Variety, Wyclef Jean, Lauryn Hill. Arguably one of the best producers ever. And
What year is this?
this is 96.
96. Okay, cool.
So the score, only album the Fugees ever dropped. But you know, if you know those tracks, Fuji La La La, it's a lot of I'm gonna take it back home. Outkast, ATLiens, changed the game, introduced the South, got something to say. The South was already talking, but now it's like, okay, you gotta take it serious now. Different down here. Another one of my favorites, Nas, It Was Written. A lot of people will say it's not his best album, but hey, Nas got some great albums. And then one of my personal favorites, because Wu Tang was heavy, man. Wu Tang literally was Wu Tang is forever. Ghostface Killer Iron Man, one of my favorite albums. And then because Raekwon literally dropped a year before previously, so I can't say only built for Cuban Links. That one dropped 95. And then next, I got a challenge for the audience, man. I want y'all. I'm gonna post a poll. I want y'all to vote. I want y'all to Google or look up which 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 year had better album drops. 1995 versus 1999. Trust me, when you look at the actual stats, it's not gonna be as easy as you think. You might be able to say, "Oh, 98 was stacked," but trust me, when you start looking at 95, you might change your mind. And then anybody who doesn't appreciate the 90s, they're literally sampling this old stuff. So this old shit, y'all be talking about, oh, I want to hear the old shit. They're literally sampling it every day, remaking stuff. People are literally dropping bars on you that you think are original, but they're not original. So, hey, shout out to hip hop and shout out to the 90s because 90s babies are the best. I'll say that. We the best.
Yeah, man. You had 92, 95.
92, 96, and then the last one was a challenge between I want to see 95 versus 98.
Okay, then. Those some good years. I didn't have no 90 years. And I know some people gonna look at my years I got and be like, "Damn, why you chose these years?" These are all years from when I was in high school to when I was in college, and that's to me when you probably consume music at the most, because that's when you're kind of developing it the most, and that's probably why I felt so strongly about these years. 2007, out of all three of these years, was the easiest one. I was a sophomore in high school, and these albums to me just hit. First one was "Finding Forever" by Common. Then it was "The Cool" by Lupe Fiasco, which that album to me was so different when he dropped it. Then you had "Graduation" by Kanye West, which in terms of this year, it was my second favorite album this whole year. And some people might be like, "Damn, "Graduation" is one of the greatest albums of all time." And I'm gonna tell you what my favorite album was in 2007. "American Gangster." It was a Jay-Z album that it wasn't one of his best, no, but it was still a solid album. Plus, American Gangster, the movie had just came out, so it kind of made it even cooler. Man, you had Underground Kings, UGK. Like, that album was very dope, man. Like, the 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 way I heard it, the way I listened to it, the way it made me feel, like I was like, yeah, this one of them ones, man. This definitely one of them ones. Um, my favorite song on the album was obviously "International Players Anthem." Um, and Rose, he loves playing the song "The Game Belongs to You." Then you had "Made" by Scarface, and yeah, that to me like was an album that was just very easy to listen to, very smooth. I remember the album cover, bruh. It kind of had the look of someone from the mafia in the album cover. And then the last three, "The Real Testament," which was Plies. It was like that album had the song "Shawty" on it. It was his first album. It was popular. The album really did do it for me. Then you had DJ Khaled with "We the Best," which to me, like, it kind of just changed the game. A lot of the songs he had on the album, the fact that he had so many different artists on the album, and then you had Ti versus Tip, which was my favorite album in 2007. Just because I like the whole back and forth of Ti talking to himself. That album to me was very influential. It didn't have the singles and some of these other albums, but in terms of just the quality of the music from start to finish, it was one of my favorite albums, not just that year, but the whole time I was in high school. Then 2011, the first year I was in college, man, that year was great because you had Watch the Throne, you had Take Care by Drake, which is one of my favorite Drake albums. You had The Carter 4, which is a top premium album. You had Rehab by Lecrae, that's when I got introduced to Christian rap, and that whole album to me was fire by Lecrae. You had one of my favorite Lupe albums, Lasers, which had songs like Superstar and other songs on it to me that was just like amazing. You had a collab album with Eminem and Royce da 5'9", Bad Meets Evil, which had one of my favorite songs at the time, a song called Fast Lane. Man, you had my introduction to Big Sean, Finally Famous, which to me was a very good solid album by him. You had Ambition by Wale, and in college I used to bump Wale. Wale was like a top 5 artist for me my whole time in college. You had Thug Motivation 3 by Jeezy, but my favorite album in 2011 was Section 80 by Kendrick. Like, when I heard that album just had me so hyped. I felt like rap is back. I felt like the reason why I like rap, the wordplay, the storytelling, the lyricism was at peak. And, like, to me, that was my favorite album that year. And then 2013 is the last year. Long Live ASAP. Man, that album was like ASAP Rocky. People forget how good ASAP Rocky was in terms of when he first came out making music. And to me, that album was almost like peak ASAP Rocky. It had my favorite song by him, Fucking Problems. You had Yeezus by Kanye West, which was still a decent Kanye West project. It wasn't at the level of his other albums that he dropped the years before. But Yeezus to me was probably the last Kanye West project I listened to, and I was like, okay, this is pretty solid. He dropped something that was cool, but Yeezus was actually kind of solid, and he had a message on it. The Gifted by Wale, once again, Wale was one of those artists that was just speaking to me while I was in college, and The Gifted was one of those albums that I really liked. Run the Jewels with Killer Mike, man, that project I really vibed into. Ace Hood was somebody that I was really fucking with. So when he dropped Trials and Tribulations, that was an album that just kept on playing. I kept playing over and over and over. I got another Big Sean album, Hall of Fame. To me, that was when Big Sean took that step. And if you just take the time to look at Big Sean's catalog, I'll say until he dropped 2 albums ago, you could see a steady increase in his game, where he got better and better each album, and Hall of Fame was better than Finally Famous. Another Drake project, Nothing Was the Same. To me, that's another top tier Drake album, man. To me, that was the last time Drake to me was actually rapping. When he actually was still spitting. Acid Rap by Chance, that was my introduction to him.
So underappreciated, bro.
Technically, I'm cheating because it's a mixtape, but I felt like I still had to add that, man.
He got released as an album. You good?
Yeah. B.O.B. Underground Luxury. Like, B.O.B. people forget when I was in college, B.O.B. was dropping bangers, man. B.O.B. was so popular that he just fell off, unfortunately. Another artist who dropped a lot of mixtapes that was very dope, but he actually released this as an album, Because of the Internet by Childish Gambino. And because of the fact that he's done so well acting and making TV shows, man, we forget when 3000 dropped off of Because of the Internet, and that whole album, Sweatpants and some of the other songs he had on that album, man, that album was dope. It was different, bro. It was Tyler the Creator-ish. for those who like people to get in a bag and rap and not just rap about the normal type of shit, Childish Gambino was one of the first rappers of this generation to take you to a different world in terms of hip hop. And that album really did that for me, man. Um, and then the last album, which was probably my favorite album, and I think we had an episode when we did like, top albums of the decade. This album was actually one of my top albums from 2010 to 2020. Um, Marshall Mathers LP2. I feel like that's one of Eminem's better projects, better albums total. Um, it paid homage to some of his earlier work. Yeah, so to me, the 3 years for me would be 2007, 2011, and 2013. There was so many years in hip hop I could have named, you know. But yeah, to me, those would be the 3 years to me personally when I was actually listening to music at a high rate. Those would be the top 3 years for me.
So here's the pushback. I feel like you cheated. It was supposed to be the '90s.
You feel like I should have had more 90s stuff?
I feel like you should have stuck to the '90s. But hey, you do what you feel you need to do. I literally agree with a lot of the artists you push.
It's harder for me to say years for the 90s only because I was born 91, so I didn't really listen to those albums in real
But we
time.
grew up like it. I don't know. For me, it's a lot of songs I literally remember as a
So
kid
so I give
growing
you
up.
an example. Me and MJ's talk about this. I think Thriller is one of the greatest songs of all time. But I love talking to older people who was in their 20s or teenage years when Thriller came out. You know why? Because they can tell you how it felt to hear Thriller for the first time, but to hear it in the same time when everybody heard it for the first time and to be at the club. And I always tell you one of my favorite songs is Yeah by Usher.
Yeah.
And I wish I was in elementary school when that song came out. Because I can only imagine how that song would have played in the club when it first came out.
Oh yeah, you know that's why. But I mean,
So with these songs, we looking at 2007. I'm a sophomore in high school.
yeah.
So when you're a teenager, you kind of finding your own, you kind of developing your personality. And some of these albums that I name, like Finding Forever, with Common, he's on his consciousness. I'm trying to open my mind. Graduation, Kanye West mixing the streets with knowledge. You know,
You know what?
then you add Ti vs Tip, the internal
I
conflict.
don't mean to interject. I'm surprised you didn't go Common B. If I got to pick my favorite Common album, it would probably be that one.
I mean, I'm not saying Final Fair was my favorite one,
It
but
was
in
just
terms of when I looked at that year,
yeah.
it fell in that year.
Okay.
And in 2011, 2013, I'm in college, and for most people, if you attend college, that's when you really find yourself, your college years. And when I look at these albums,
LA was a big part of my college.
yeah, a lot of these albums, to me personally, like from Kendrick Lamar, I first really got put on him. Watch the Throne, like I said, Drake, because when I take care is when I really started listening to Drake. The Carter, it was like the last of my childhood. Like if you really look at the albums, like Lil Wayne, like I grew up listening to him, so it was like the last time I got to hear Lil Wayne be great.
Okay, so I got something for you. Since we talking about we gonna do something a little different right now. We gonna say since we're gonna take my era, we're gonna take your era. We'll start with your era. What are some of those forgotten, underappreciated? They ain't necessarily got to be underground, but what are some of those artists that you personally love that didn't get they didn't blow up or they just didn't get their shine like they were supposed to? Like whether it's a mixtape artist or somebody that just wasn't as popular as you thought they were gonna be.
So at the top of my head, two of them are on my list. Ace Hood, I felt like he should have been bigger than what he was. B.O.B. should have been bigger than what he was. The Joker, that's someone that Juiceman I mean, my bad, Rose knows I like a lot. I felt like the Joker music was very, very popular. He should have definitely been a lot bigger than what he was, in my opinion, personally. And I'm gonna be honest, man, I don't know why Lil Mama didn't blow up. Because there really wasn't many female artists. Nah, because if you think about it, Lil Mama came out a little before Nicki Minaj.
Shorty was great at her time. I feel like somehow she boxed herself in. She was one dimensional.
Yeah, but she could rap, and she came out a little before Nicki Minaj. And when she came out, it was this hole in female rap that need to be there. And I'll be honest, if Lil Mama came out today, she'd probably be a top 3 female rapper. If you look at the kind of, because she had a song called Lip Gloss, and she could flow and everything. Um, but it's in terms of like just artists in general, those would be the only 3, man. Now there's artists that made songs that, oh yeah, and Kamina. Kamina's another artist. I don't understand why he didn't do more. But when you kind of read his story, he kind of bowed out gracefully. He made his money and he just chose to leave. But if I had to say, like, to me, it would be more so one hit wonders in the 2000s, like during my era. Like someone like Mims, someone like Rich Boy, throw some D's on that. Someone like Soldier Boy, even though he's had a long career, you didn't really hear too much after he came out. Like there was just a lot of one hit wonders where they would drop a song, the song would be hot as fuck, and then you just really wouldn't hear too much from them. But Mims is a perfect example because I remember when This Is Why I'm Hot came out, and I always say on the pod, if you listen, you got to take yourself back to when this shit happened now, because it's easy in 2025 to just look at Mims and just laugh at a nigga. When he dropped This Is Why I'm Hot, that song took over the whole country. Yeah. They played that song every fucking where, and niggas thought he was going to blow, and then, look, we don't know who the fuck he at now.
And on that same tip, somebody who kind of stayed around for a little while, Mano, hi hater. Just, you see me, okay? Then somebody who's he can spit. He's literally been in he's probably ghostwritten for some of the hottest rappers in the 2000s, Graph. But I mean, as far as we take it back to my high school years and my college years. I was heavy on Two Dope Boys, hot all hot or hot new hip hop, all hip hop, and that piff.com. Mixtapes, straight mixtapes. That's how I learned about some of my favorite artists. Fab doesn't get enough love. Literally, this man dropped a series of great mixtapes. There's no competition. 1, 2, and 3. Literally dropped the Soul Tapes. One of J. Cole's best verses is on Soul Tapes 2. Fabulous does not get enough love.
So I'm gonna let you go to the 90s, man. But probably the last rapper that I'll say, because most of my rappers was in the 10s.
Yeah.
Well, 2 of my eras was the 10s. I'm gonna throw out Fetty Wap. Like he
disappeared.
He had a very short run, and it was kind of interesting because the way he rapped and how he kind of sung a little bit in his raps, you would have thought he would have lasted a little bit longer. But so in the 90s, who the niggas in the 90s for you?
Finish. I got 2 more. I'm gonna say Dom Kennedy, still doing his thing. A lot of people still finding out about him. And I'm gonna say Pac Div. Literally one of the greatest groups out of LA. I was heavy on them when they was out. Yeah, Pac Div, and I want to say Dom Kennedy. Shoot, Taylor Gang was hot. I'm trying to think. 90s. So it's a lot of people. Apache. He got that one song, Gangsta. I got one for you.
Okay.
You down with OPP? Yeah, you know me. Hip Hop Parade.
Yeah.
Naughty by Nature. What's that song? East Orange, New Jersey. Number 1 Chief Rocker. Number 1 Chief Rocker. Number 1 Chief. I can't think of the group now, but literally Chief Rocker was one of them. Yeah, but it's a lot of groups in the 90s, man. EPMD doesn't get enough love. Again, I mentioned them. CL Smooth and Pete Rock. Public Enemy doesn't get enough love. Wu-Tang, half the Wu-Tang. Rakim, RZA. ODB definitely doesn't get enough love. It's a whole lot of just groups from the 90s, man. Like, I could sit there and talk for another 30 minutes about all these groups and start thinking about songs. What's the Man, it's so many groups, bro. Like,
Yeah, I don't want to say nobody from the '90s don't get their propers, only because
Positive K. That's another one. Positive K. If you like that type of rap, would it was different. It was different. Go ahead, bro.
I say that only because of the fact of '90s was dominated by certain niggas like Biggie, Tupac, you know. So it's like I don't want to say nobody doesn't get any propers, but if I had to pick some people, I would say AZ. You know, he's someone that was a nice spitter that probably doesn't get noticed like someone like Nas. He was on Nas level in terms of the way he rapped. That album Do or Die is a very good hip hop album. Big L,
Was that the first one? Do or Die was the
yeah,
first
Do or
one.
Die was the
It had
first
Sugar
one.
Hill on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a classic.
Big L, he's another smooth spitter. That I feel like, you know, maybe a lot of people don't talk about, but he did die prematurely, man. So that plays a factor. You know, we know Coolio for his song Gangsta's Paradise, but he got some good music in the '90s, man. So the '90s, I feel like, was a very competitive era of music where there was a lot of rappers that was hungry and doing what they were supposed to do. Like, you know, because
And then
you said Wu-Tang Clan during that same span when Wu-Tang Clan was popular. You got to remember, you had someone like Method Man who broke off, made his own music, and then linked over with Redman. That all happened in the '90s, you know. So yeah, and then you had someone like
Keith
Snoop Dogg.
Murray.
Snoop Dogg, who was big as hell.
Keith
Yeah,
Murray.
Keith Murray was someone that was dope. I feel like the '90s was just an era of you had to get it when you got it.
Oh, how could I forget my boy Jeru? Jeru. I want to say the Danger Man, but Jeru. Das FX. Two man, come on. Das FX. Jeru. Come on, bro. There's so many. Lord Finesse. I could go all day, bro.
Yeah, man. You got any closing thoughts, those C's?
Yeah, man. Hip hop is definitely here to stay, man. 50 years old. It's a lot of great albums from the 90s, bro. And I can't knock it. It's literally, and then you switched it up on us and did the 2000s, so we're good. It's a lot of great artists, man. I do appreciate you switching it up on us and doing a new era, but a lot of great music overall. Yeah, it's a lot of great artists, man. I do appreciate you for switching it up. I know I said that already. I'm not repeating myself. I'm just gathering my thoughts. Just go back and listen to the classics. We literally have those old albums that we grew up with. What I wanted to say was, imagine those songs that you think about from the '90s that you grew up listening to. Now you have a greater appreciation for them. So it's like when I hear Hip Hop Parade, I appreciate how like people don't realize Tretch is one of the best lyricists in the game. Dude was spitting. And it's like we talking about a party song like Hip Hop Parade, he was spit on that. So it's like all these songs from the '90s, and it's like such that 10-year period literally from going from West Coast hip hop to down south to from having like real lyricists to having party rap, in between rap, all these different avenues. Where it was like the '90s, it's like, bruh, if we ain't had the '90s, you couldn't even talk about any of the artists you talked about today. We wouldn't have a Slim Shady. We wouldn't have a B.O.B. So it's like when I talk about a track like Arrested Development, nobody in their right mind would be willing to rap on a song like B.O.B. was if it wasn't for a song like Tennessee. So I mean, hey, just appreciate the '90s, man. It was a great era. Appreciate the 2000s, but it's a lot of good music. I'm always say go back and listen to the old classics, man. Like we don't listen to classical music, so we can't appreciate that, but we can listen to the classics from whether it's R&B, hip hop, pop. Shit, there's literally light rock songs that I'm finding out about now, like Rim and all these other different genres, man. So hey, man, just keep your ears open. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, man. I'm be honest, man. It's been a great episode, man. I told y'all every week for this whole month of Black History, you know, I'm gonna drop some jewels to y'all for Black History, man. So this week, man, you know, I'm honoring Jennifer King. She's a woman. She's the first assistant coach in the NFL. She played. She went to Guilford University and Liberty University. She played soft football there. She joined the Women's Alliance, which is a semi-pro football league for women, in 2006. She played in that league from 2006 to 2019. She first coached in the NFL with the Carolina Panthers as a wide receivers coach intern. Then went to the Arizona Hotshots, which is a semi-league. Came back to the Carolina Panthers in 2019 as a running back interim coach. Then finally got another intern job in 2020. And then in 2021 to 2023 was assistant running backs coach. And now she's the offensive assistant / running backs coach for the Chicago Bears. Like, for her to be doing what she's doing, for her to be the first African-American woman to be an actual coach in the National Football League, like, to all the ladies out there, football is a sport for women and men. Like, there's plenty of semi-leagues, tackling leagues for women out there because women are bigger than football, man. So shout out to her, man, doing what she loved to do, being blessed to be able to coach in the NFL, man. And you got to understand, she's probably worked really, really hard to even get the opportunity, because it's hard for black men to get opportunities in the NFL to coach.
And before we wrap up, I also want to mention she coached not only in the NFL, but she also coached women's basketball. So
she did.
Multiple sport coach.
Yeah, like I said, she plays softball, coached basketball, and she's coaching the NFL currently, man. So shout out to her. If you saw Hard Knocks with the Chicago Bears, you actually saw her talking to the running backs in Hard Knocks. So you actually got to see her doing what she does best in her actual job. And side note, you got to see that she's thick. That ass is fat, yo. But in the words of Airbnb Rakim, peace.
Mr. DJ Rose, Doechii, and C's, welcome you to the No More Black Tears podcast.
Black tears that's heaven sent. Barack the first black president. I love my black skin. I love walking in black excellence. Black power, let's represent. All black, that's evident. For sure, MLK and Malcolm X both didn't die for the hell of it. Strap a seatbelt, go and sell our land. What makes you think that we would sell our land? We wouldn't sell our land. What makes you think that we would go ahead and try to sell out then? No more black tears, black on black kids. Love as is, love with passion. Paying black bills, learning black skills, making black meals. Black is backing. Big shout out to Fred Hampton. I'm black and proud like I'm James Brown, but I ain't doing no acting. My people here from the motherland. This podcast now active.